You know, inside your head, right this second, there's a whole universe of cells that are creating every single thought, feeling, and action you'll ever have. So today, we're going to meet the two main players in this incredible system, the famous neuron and its partner that's often overlooked but is absolutely essential, the glial cell.
But first, just think about this for a second. You decide you're going to wiggle your big toe, and in a fraction of a second, that command travels from your brain, zips down your spinal cord, and gets all the way to your foot. I mean, how is that even possible? That near-instant communication? Well, the answer lies in an extraordinary partnership.
So, let's meet our two main characters. On one side, you've got the neuron. It's the star of the show, right? The messenger that's carrying all the important signals. But on the other side, we have the glial cell. This is the unsung hero, the support crew working tirelessly behind the scenes. And as you're about to see, this star couldn't do a thing without them.
And just to get a sense of the scale we're talking about, the average human brain has a staggering 86 billion neurons. That is more than 11 times the number of people on the entire planet, all packed inside your skull, all firing signals and making connections every single moment. It's wild.
Okay, so let's start with the headliner, the neuron. Its whole existence, its entire purpose, is dedicated to one thing: communication. It is the primary messenger of our entire nervous system.
And you know, the basic idea is actually surprisingly simple. At its heart, a neuron really just acts like a biological wire. It transmits an electrical signal from point A to point B. But how it's built to do that? Well, that's just a masterpiece of biological engineering.
Communication starts right here, at the dendrites. You can think of these really intricate tree-like branches as the neuron's antennas. They are constantly listening, just collecting signals. And sometimes they're getting signals from thousands of other cells all at once.
So once a signal gets picked up by the dendrites, it travels to the soma, which is the cell body. Now this is the neuron's command center. It takes all those incoming messages, it kind of adds them all up, and then it has to make a critical decision. Is this signal important enough to pass along?
If the signal gets the green light, it's sent down this incredible structure, the axon. This is the long-distance transmission cable. And get this, some axons, like the one that runs all the way to your big toe, can be up to a meter long. A single cell. So the really crucial thing to remember here is this one-way flow of information. A signal is received by the dendrites, it's integrated or processed in the soma, and then it's transmitted down the axon. Receive, integrate, transmit. That simple directional process is literally the foundation of all communication in our nervous system.
Okay, so we've met the star of the show. Now it's time to meet the support crew. The name glia actually comes from the Greek word for glue, because, scientists way back when thought their only job was to hold the neurons in place. As we are about to see, they could not have been more wrong.
And here's where the story gets really, really interesting. For every single neuron in your brain, there are roughly 3 glial cells. So they're not just the supporting cast, they are the overwhelming majority. So what on earth are all of them doing?
Well, it turns out they have a ton of critical jobs. First, you've got astrocytes. Think of them as the brain's janitors and bodyguards. They clean up extra chemicals, and they maintain the blood-brain barrier, which is this super selective filter that protects your brain from toxins. Then there are microglia, the brain's own dedicated immune system, always on patrol for invaders. And finally, you have oligodendrocytes and Schwann cells, and their job is so important, it's the key to our next section.
This is where our two characters, the neuron and the glia, finally come together to pull off something incredible. This is the secret sauce to the nervous system's amazing speed, a partnership that creates something called myelin. So what is myelin? Well, it's this fatty substance that glial cells wrap around axons in these really tight layers. Honestly, the best analogy is like the pastry wrapped around a hot dog in Pigs in a Blanket. This wrapping, it's not just for decoration. It's a high-performance electrical insulator. So why does that matter so much? Well, an axon without myelin has to send its signal continuously down the whole length, which is pretty slow and uses up a lot of energy. But with a myelin sheath, the signal doesn't have to do that. Instead, it leaps. And this is not just dramatically faster, but it's also way more energy efficient. This amazing leaping process has a fancy scientific name. It's called saltatory conduction, which comes from the Latin word for to jump. The electrical signal literally jumps from one gap in the myelin to the next, covering huge distances in the blink of an eye. And that is exactly how that thought gets to your big toe so fast.
So this brilliant partnership between our neurons and our glia is what makes our nervous system so powerful, but it's also really fragile. So what happens when this high-speed communication network starts to break down?
This brings us to a condition that many of us have heard of, multiple sclerosis, or MS. MS is an autoimmune disease. What that means is the body's own immune system makes a terrible mistake, and it identifies myelin as some kind of foreign invader, and then it attacks it, stripping away that crucial insulation from the axons.
And the consequences are a direct result of losing that high-speed connection we've been talking about. Without the myelin, signals either slow way down or they just stop altogether. Scar tissue starts to form where the myelin used to be. And this disruption is exactly what leads to the devastating symptoms of MS, things like muscle weakness and a loss of coordination. It's a really stark reminder of just how vital this partnership truly is.
So this is where we'll end. We've seen that glial cells are so much more than just glue. They are the active architects of the brain's incredible high-speed network. And that leaves us with a really profound question. If these unsung heroes are the key to building the system in the first place, could they also be the key to repairing it? The future of treating diseases like MS might just depend on that answer. The unsung hero might turn out to be our best hope.